Good evening, dear friends, and welcome to tonight's Boys from the Baltic Star. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us here this evening, and it's a pleasure for you to have us with you this evening. It truly is. What a fine room of handsome men you have at your disposal. Um, we're all in the same room together, just pretending not to be, and we've been having a little bit of a rough and tumble, a little bit of a banter, a little bit of a messing around. But now we're focusing on you this evening, dear friends, dear viewers. It's Saturday night, and on a Saturday night here on the Baltic Star, we play a variety of games, a whole range. And we're often joined by some guests, some friends, some honorary boys, and some real boys that are honorary boys. Um, we're joined by one tonight. He is one of our all-time favourites. If you've been here before, you'll recognise him already. We'll go into him in a minute, metaphorically, and it's just an absolute pleasure to have him with us. Uh, However, he is from a whole other country on the other side of the world, which means he is an hour or two ahead. So we bear that in mind and we try to finish at a sensible time that works for him and us. So we'll probably run a couple of hours or so this evening, I think. Nothing too crazy. Give him the chance to get some sort of sleep over there, maybe. We'll see how he goes. A message, I'll hear a ping in my ear at some point, and then I'll be reminded. I'll be sort of given a countdown, and we'll work to that. You can also tell when he's run out of steam because he just loses it in his eyes. He no longer understands anything that's being said. You'll be able to see that, Div. If you're still here, dear viewer, watch for that moment and type it in chat. Just type John's gone, and then I'll quiz him on what I said in the 5 minutes before to see if he notices.
Can
We
we get
love
a
him.
points reward for that?
Yeah. Oh yes, I've worked that out.
Not tonight. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do something for us, definitely. So yeah, it's a couple of hours. Stay for as long or as little as you want. There will be a break, so you can go to the loo, do whatever you need to do. I will forget probably. Then someone will ping and say the cats need feeding or they need a wee, and then we'll have a break. There is a red star, because it is the sun is a star. You can click on that and spend some points. What have we got in state? I believe this is working.
I am invincible!
It is perfect. So the noises are working. Have a click through, see what you like. Anything pinkish plays a song or a sound bite. The expensive ones will feed into the game. You can name an NPC. You can get one of the characters to tell a brief tale about themselves, preferably just at the wrong moment when they're trying to escape or something. Or you can give them an extra dice roll with the boon to be wild. We're playing using
I am invincible!
Jonathan Hicks's wonderful rule set for those dark places. It's a very. Oh, why did I put all these on? Yes, those dark places. It's very deadly. We've simpled it down a little bit, but it's still quite dangerous at times. So a boon would probably be helpful, and our dear heroes would appreciate it. Speaking of our dear heroes, you may notice we're joined by three wonderful heroes this evening, and led by yours truly. My name is Luke. Hello, I am the GM, the Grand Marmaduke in this game. That's what GM stands for. And I'm here looking down, literally, figuratively, morally, on my three gentlemen beneath me. Let's go through them. Let's start, as always, with my brother from another mother, the housewife's favourite, the Floofmeister General. He's the wonderful Ewan. Good evening, Ewan. How are you?
Hello, Luke. I was all right. I was doing really well, and now I'm in a bit of a tears. I had a couple of panicked moments just before we started. One was a minor wardrobe malfunction, and the other one, completely unrelated. I found some leftover chocolate golden coins from Christmas, which is good news.
You did too?
But they were rotten and dissolved. Good, you're capturing the spirit. Well, this is the spirit of the night, thinking you've won. John asked, what is our motivation? And you've pretty much summed up the motivation there. So that's quite exciting.
Interesting.
So you're going to have a good session.
Nice.
But who are you having a good session as? Please tell me about your character whose name doesn't show up in the credits.
Tonight, Luke, I am playing Gaston Delarue, mostly current journalist, French-born. Grew up on a family vineyard before the spoils of said vineyard were ravaged by the ensuing global issues, shall we say? Let's keep it light, I guess. And he had to go and find actual work to do with his life.
The Great War, the only world war we've had.
Yes, that has happened.
Yes,
and will ever happen.
Yes, this was
We're
the one.
optimistic.
This is where I messed up the other week. Yes, he's a wonderful man. The ladies love him. Most of the men like him too. Speaking of a man that everyone loves and people are wowed by, but we'll talk about his character later. But I'm talking about the man himself right now, because he is an Adonis. He is carved from Greek marble. Beneath that luxurious beard, he has a jaw like a mixture of Poseidon and of Archimedes. His legs are sturdy tree trunks. His tongue a silver paintbrush. He is the wonderful John. Good evening, John. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you so much, Luke. That wonderful introduction. I'm pretty great.
Oh, you're very great.
Very great. Yeah.
Very great. What's how are the cats?
The cats are, I think, also quite wonderful. Running around, have the AC on. Unfortunately, they can't get out to the balconies, but yeah, the AC is on, so it's all good.
Spez is up. Hey, Spez, how are you doing? I thought people would want to know about the cats. So at some point, there's always an underlying cat stream going on. So I knew it was an important question. Now we've talked about one incredible figure of a man. Why don't we talk about the incredible man that you play in our game?
Yes, gladly. I will gladly tell my character's news rather than mine.
Yeah.
Tony Rudi. No, sorry.
Oh.
Rudi Otto. German born, but caravan raised. He's a man who discovered that he has quite a gift with his hands and quite a size to be formidable enough to fight in the professional heavyweight division in boxing, in bare knuckle boxing rather. And well, bare knuckle boxing and boxing, it was in the 1930s or something like this, 1910s or something, or anyway, the beginning of the century. So the rules were a bit strange in the sport. But this is where he laid his hand. No, like he made his fortunes. He made his career, all his 20s. By fighting and having an official and professional career and score of 9-0, although unprofessionally, rumors say that he has in the dozens the knockouts of his assailants from youth to his 50s, which he is now. But before he gets to his 50s, during his 30s, he decided not to go for the belt, the heavyweight belt. He could, with 9-0, challenge the champion, but he chose that he realized that he has just enough money, because he came from nothing really, to follow his academic pursuits and dreams, because fighting was a means to an end for him, nothing really more. And he didn't like the top level corruption of the sport and the media and stuff. So he decided, get the hell out of here, you boxing world. And he picked up his dusty books and went to the library and became an academic, a lecturer, a professor of history. And during his travels, he met the magnificent Tony Guerrero, and they formed a duo. have been through many, many adventures, not just the few that we know, right? There are many off-screen adventures, and some dark, some light, some funny, some dangerous. They have seen everything. Right now, he's in a. Right now, he's in the more I'm a writer phase in his life. He's wearing scarves, weird shirts, and carrying a bag usually filled with copies of ringside rituals, a boxer's grapple with histories, hidden faces. That's the bestseller at Vienna right now, and
How,
everywhere, all over Europe.
the bestseller everywhere. You've even given some away in the last 2 hours in game.
Yeah, after
People
on
can't,
someone to some cultist head to some legionnaire or something.
people just can't get enough of it. It's wonderful stuff.
Are we too early for a New York Times bestseller?
Oh,
Across the ocean, interesting. You could be
Yes.
my manager in game.
We'll talk about that later.
you could make him a.
Yeah.
I think you have the power to make him a ce soir bestseller. I think you have that power. Maybe not the New York Times. I think the New York Times is because they were part of the Zeppelin, the Graf Zeppelin, and that was in the past. So yeah, I think it would have been.
Probably.
For those of you that want to know more about Pick Rudy's brain, there is something to spend credits on, which is, I believe it is, where is it? It's called Buy a Copy of Rudy's Book. If you buy a copy of Rudy's book for 200 credits, at the next opportunity, John will have to give you a sentence or a paragraph or something from the book. So it's
is it a
just,
new one?
it's just forcing improv on you, yeah. So if someone just buys it and just says
Okay, I better be ready.
page 34, you have to come up with something.
This is something Luke does to us all the time, but every now and then he does add it to the points redeemed, so that anybody can do it.
I love the initiatives. I love the ideas. Way
Oh,
to
there
go,
you go.
Luke.
Spez is in. What page, Spez? What do you want a reading from? What page? If you're interested, do you want a bit of an early bit later on in the book?
What?
Page 52. Can we have a
Page
sentence from page
52?
52, please? Yeah.
Wait, I haven't found it. I will improv. Page 52
Page 52.
has bits of how to correlate the life of someone reaching the top while in your heart you're extraordinarily humble and you still in the streets in the neighborhood that you began, and it's rather motivating and a nostalgic monologue and a cautionary tale to avoid corruption and decadence and all the things that may negatively influence you when you reach the top.
Oh,
That's it.
beautiful. Speaking of a man who's reached the top, avoiding corruption and decadence, we come to the smartest, least corrupt, least decadent man in any room. He lives his entire life in the Twin Peaks dream sequence. And when he's not, he's carried around on the shoulders of 6 topless, heavily oiled Eastern European men, complaining about how his goulash tastes. He is the wonderful Ben. Good evening, Ben. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. It's it's very, very nice to be back playing some Tony and Rudy and Gaston. And I'm much looking forward to more exciting explorations of a private library on the banks of the Danube.
You bring such a poetic charm to everything you say, Ben.
And I must be good at it because none of it rhymes.
Poetry doesn't have to. That's something I learned at secondary school.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us something else about someone else? Why don't you tell us about our beloved Tony?
Tony Guerrero. Tony Guerrero is Italian, specifically Roman. He is a a relatively young man still. I think at this point he's what in his should we say late 30s or mid 30s. Um, he is by training a coward, but by avocation a librarian and archivist. And that has led him to make contact over the years with Rudi, and they have gone off on adventures together. And he has slowly discovered that while cowardice is clearly the way to go for any sensible human being, when there are other people around who can see you do it, bravery suddenly brings on a whole different aspect and can make you very popular and very successful. So, um, so as a consequence, he is uh, particularly keen on what you might call daring do, inspired by the great feats of those who have appeared in the movies by this point. He is he is obviously determinedly avoiding anywhere that the tentacles of the far right might have stretched their fingers in Europe in the 1930s, for fear of being called up into Mussolini's army and sent off to fight in Abyssinia or something. And other than that, he is a relatively carefree chap with a decent sense of adventure, and the world hasn't yet beaten all of his curiosity out of him.
Yet. He's tried a couple of times, but he's.
It's had a couple of goes, yeah. But it's actually helpful to have somebody like Rudi around for obvious reasons, because this is a guy who on one occasion punched a train.
It's,
Um,
it's
you know,
true. Ripped a hole in the whole side of it.
it when you've got a friend like that, you know, at your side and covering your back, it becomes much easier to be heroic.
That's true. That is true.
And I reckon we are like 10 years together doing that or something.
It's been
Something
a long
like
time.
that, yeah.
I think it's a very heroic memory of Rudi. My favourite heroic memory of Rudi is when he got blackout drunk and fell asleep with his bum out on the bed.
Yeah,
That was a tough.
an
Both,
amazing
both
moment.
character defining moments.
Like,
It's hard to choose.
are we talking about our characters or us? Sorry.
We have had some fairly heroic moments. We threw ourselves with enthusiasm into a fight against machine gun armed fascists on the SS Can. I thought that was fairly brave.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
rather brave.
yeah, I think so. Very brave. I think you were quite brave in the in the cafe earlier in this town, taking on armed cult type characters as well.
I was also pretty brave. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. There's a lot of bravery going on. I really fancy some more bravery tonight. Shall we kick on and see if we can find any anywhere?
Yeah.
Give it a shot.
Wonderful. Right then, let's settle back, get comfortable, and let's introduce this evening's chapter. It is 4:02 p.m. on the 9th of March 1938, 3 months removed from the academic symposium held at the Carlton Hotel in St. Moritz, where esteemed archaeologists, museum curators and historians Tony Guerrero and Rudi Otto gave what was reported in the Ce Soir newspaper as the finest and most captivating academic lecture of the 1930s. And our heroes have found themselves deeply and utterly tangled up in what can only be described as shenanigans, deadly shenanigans at that. It appears as though an old friend, historian and Egyptologist Monsieur Henri Canard, has been busy over the last few years, managing to come into possession of a mythical ancient artifact of Egyptian origin. A beautiful piece on its own, and our three heroes would agree as they've seen it in person. However, Monsieur Canard believed that when combined with similar objects found by his colleagues in Greece, Rome and Persia, it would work as a compass to lead them to an artifact of incredible power, capable of bringing peace to the whole world. It seems as though Monsieur Canard and his colleagues Anna Zukov, Lars Persson and Rufus Hightower weren't the only ones to believe this. Just a couple of hours ago, a militant group known as Legion crashed through the doors of the Bohemian Café Kaufmann by the bank of the mighty and beautiful river Danube in Vienna, Austria. They kidnapped the Egyptologist, a man seemingly prone to being kidnapped by cultish groups, and started shooting at innocents. Fortunately for everyone, except for the insurance company tasked with investigating the suspicious fire and plentiful bullet holes, 3 of the fine-standing, bravery, and industriousness people were present to stop the artifact from falling into these wrong hands. So fortunate. Firstly, the heroic and famous Rudi, the unbeaten boxer, vanquisher of the cult of Artemis, the learned occult master, author of the soon-to-be best-selling autobiography, Ringside Rituals, A Boxer's Grapple with History's Hidden Forces. Secondly, the young and dashing Gaston Delarue, son of celebrated winemakers, lauded reporter for Ce Soir newspaper, and lover of 1,000 beautiful women. And thirdly, Tony Guerrero, a man with half a dozen wine-stained pairs of trousers. In a moment of sneaky cleverness, young Gaston had managed to snaffle away the Egyptian artifact and a list of the addresses that Monsieur Canard's colleagues were staying at while in Vienna. The first, just a short boat ride down the Danube. This is the location where our story restarts this evening. Pursued by Legion, who had proven themselves both ruthless and capable of blending into a crowd, our heroes weren't willing to give the kindly Elena Fisher, owner of the guest house in which Russian archaeologist Anna Zhukov was currently staying, the benefit of the doubt. You could say they were quite paranoid at this point. This despite the copious number of delicious cakes and cups of coffee she repeatedly thrust upon them, especially the handsome and dashing Rudi. Believing that she might be an agent for Legion, or at least someone not to be trusted, our heroes split, with Otto taking on the cake and coffee, Tony skulking outside the back fire escape, and Gaston mooching along the corridor, nosying at the delightful woman's photographs, before sneaking into the back room and opening the fire escape to Tony, despite the grumpy barking of Frau Fischer's faithful Dachshund Strauss. With Frau Fischer not knowing of Zhukov's whereabouts, our heroes got down to some top-quality snooping, finding her clothes under a bed, and a small note with Monsieur Canard's details, tomorrow's date, and a meeting place, a park in the city. It appears that Anna's gone into hiding, only returning when the coast is clear. More instinctive poking around revealed a reading list of Ulysses, The Tempest, and War and Peace, and some classic pencil rubbing over the top of a notebook. They found a plea from Zhukov for Frau Fischer to, and I quote, place the book over the nook on the shelf. Still, the best was yet to come, as a triumphant Tony led the group to the bookcase in the corner of the rectangular living room, pulled the copy of War and Peace off the shelves, and revealed a hole behind. The excitement was almost too much to bear. So it is with great relief that this is where we continue our proceedings tonight. For it is 4:02 p.m. in the house of Elena Fischer, and Tony Guerrero, with War and Peace in hand, is staring at a previously hidden hole in the living room bookcase.
You see?
That hole, tell us a little bit more about that hole.
It's it's narrow. It's probably about War and Peace is a well-chosen book for it. It's a wide book in the printing it's in as well. So the hole itself is probably a few inches wide, and it takes up pretty much the whole height of the bookshelf. You would not see it if the book wasn't there. You haven't investigated in the hole yet. I'll leave that to if you want to. But from what you can tell, you can just see the size of it, and it's a hole. It seems man-made.
Rudi will approach and start doing this and throw the books down to see the whole size of it and investigate further.
As you sort of throw the books around with gusto, I'm going to go with.
It was a dramatic rush. For some reason, yeah.
The excitement of a lead. Frau Fischer, who sort of half makes her way over there to try and calm you down. She's a bit upset with the mess happening in her living room. But she can't stop such an enthusiastic character as yourself, Rudi.
Yeah, as if Rudi waits to see the whole circle to do that, you know.
Exactly.
And he removes the last book. It's a hole here.
Yeah, exactly. Rudi, could you please roll an education for me, please? So, for those of you that don't know,
I got the history. To add history.
no, because you're just pulling things off
Yeah.
to look for something. So,
Really?
for those that don't know, they're going to roll a d6, or he is. He's going to add his education skill, which is a 3, and he's going to want to
2
hit.
plus 3 is 5, which is not enough.
All you can see is there's just the one hole, but that's all you can tell is it's a hole. You can't tell any more about it at this moment. There is one hole.
Then
Which
I
War and
will
Peace was
share
over?
this pivotal information with my colleagues who turn around, probably sweaty, say, it's a hole.
Well done, Rudi. Can I? Oh, this is going to be insanely dumb. Can I stick my hand inside it, please,
You
and
certainly
feel
can.
around all the way at the back? I'm feeling for. First of all, obviously the inevitable poison needle trap that's hidden in there, but also, if I can get past that and the asp coiled in there, I would like to see if there's anything hidden in there or if it's not the whole hole, if you know what I mean. If there's a lever or a catch to unlock something or open something.
Nice.
We're too early for cinema warnings of such things, aren't we? So I wouldn't blame any of us for reaching in.
Exactly. The Goonies hasn't come out. The Indiana
Yes,
Jones
none of
films
us have
haven't come
actually
out.
seen Indiana Jones yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's see how well you do. Could you please roll an agility for me, please? I'll give you. You've just thrust your hand in, haven't you? Like an absolute legend. Have some daring do.
Oh, that's lucky
He's
because my
very
agility
daring.
was 1.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that means I get to roll +3 with my daring do. That's a total of 7.
Ooh.
Ah, that's good.
Okay, not bad.
You reach in. The first thing you sort of. I'll tell you what, actually, while you're in there as well, could you roll an education while you're there? Just as a. Because they're covering 2 slightly different things, I think.
I can. I don't suppose I can argue that in this case history might work for an education.
No.
Okay, so it's not like I'm feeling something that I might recognise. It's all I was checking.
Yeah, and that's a good question. No, I'm gonna. Nothing like.
It is very daring education, though. If education was ever going to be daring, this is the moment.
This is very daring
That's
education.
a total of 10.
Okay.
Oh, double digits.
Oh, sweet ass.
That almost never
Nice.
happens in this game because it is a Hicks game, and therefore we're all doomed.
It's tough, exactly. The numbers are hard. So as you're sort of scrabbling through with your agility, sort of reaching your hand in further, the things you're noticing are, with your education, this is, you go through the end of the bookcase, which is as deep as you'd expect it to be. It pretty much immediately goes into brickwork, and there's no cobwebs or anything, so it would suggest that it's been used quite recently. That's sort of what the education is teaching you, the feel of around, and that it appears to not be dusty or, falling out of place. There doesn't appear to be any creepy crawlies crawling up your sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
You do manage to reach, it's not too far back, it's probably about another hand width back. It's nothing too much. You feel a sort of a handle at the end. You can feel around, it feels like it's a bar that comes out and then like a T-bar out the end. One that you could wrap your fingers
sort of
behind.
like a gas tap rather than
Yeah.
Yeah.
You but as you do it, you're clattering your fingers a bit because you don't know it. You've clattered it a bit. You feel like you've half ripped one of your nails. You've found it, but because you're sort of clattering around, it was a slightly failed roll, right? A 7. It's sort of success with an asterisk, and you feel like the nail on your right or left, whichever hand you put in, up to you, index finger is sort of half ripped off. It's horrible. It's a horrible stinging pain as you go in, but you can feel the handle there.
Okay. Well, I'm going to gently take hold of the handle, and then I'm going to say to the others, there's a handle in here, like a tap. I'm going to turn it and pull it, okay?
Okay. Gaston will
Proceed.
take one big step backwards.
So I sort of wrap 2 fingers each side of the T-bar.
Yep.
Take a very firm grip and start simultaneously trying to sort of gently increase the pressure, pulling it towards me and turn it anti-clockwise.
Wonderful.
So I'm just trying to find out whether it turns or whether it pulls, but I'm also going to, when I find out which it is, I'm going to actually action it.
Cool. So you're trying to lefty-loosey.
I am, yes.
Yeah. I'm not going to make you roll a strength on this because it twists slightly. You feel it goes at 90 degree anti-clockwise. So from that way to that way. And you hear a slight click. Rudi and Gaston, could you each roll an education, please?
Yes.
Maybe do I add occult in this?
You know what? You will, and I'll explain why after you roll if it's successful.
I had a feeling.
Is this...
Wow.
No, you can't seduce it.
No. Is this something that would be familiar, similar to something you would find in an old-fashioned car?
Like a
There's a
choke.
choke, or
No.
something. No, I thought I'd ask. You never know. Right. Ooh, that's good though.
Well, my total is a 7.
Oh, you had everything going for you, Rudi. I think you were still a bit sweaty. The sweat from tearing the books off is in your eyes a little bit.
Probably.
Gaston, you noticed it though, that when the audible click happened, you saw about a couple of meters further along the bookcase, it sort of swings open just a little bit, just wobbles out slightly into the room as if a mechanism has loosed something.
The bookcase itself.
Yeah.
The bookcase here, and he rushes over and starts pulling at it.
Another hole?
Possibly a bigger one. I'm going to slowly retrieve my hand and look at the nail, and it's like, must fight urge to wipe blood on my tan trousers.
Oh, self-inflicted. Can't be done.
Rudi can help himself. He will go next to Gaston and start removing the books.
That's fine. You can you do it as you're sort of removing more books from the bookcase. The bookcase is getting a little bit lighter on it, and it swings a little bit more outwards. It's clearly that whole section of bookcase clearly appears to be some kind of doorway.
It's a doorway.
Okay. And can we pull the door open, or the actual bookcase open, to reveal the entire thing?
You certainly can. It swings open quite well. And behind it, if you look at the little map to the left of Gaston, the guns are coming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, boy. as you pull it open, you notice that if you look at the living room in that map, I think everything I said before that was it was a rectangular room. Now, what you've noticed is you've basically, at that top bit where the circle's just pinged up, where the bookcase is, a doorway just at the bottom of that jutty out bit has swung open. And behind there, you notice a small, dark room. It's very dark in there. It's not lit inside. There's just the light from the living room, but because of where the light is, it doesn't go in very well because of like the angle of the door and so on. So it's gloomy in there at best.
Okay.
Is our host still with us?
You turn around to look for your host, and you see her re-entering the room. You didn't notice her leave. As she re-enters, she has a plate with 3 slices of chocolate cake on. And she says, "Well, looks like you might be here for a little while. Would you all like another slice while you go exploring?" Someone's hungry.
Rudi will lick his fingers at the side of the cake, but he will say, "What lies in this adventure?
Well,
Where does it lead?"
if you're expecting tunnels under the river or great, exciting adventures through there, you'll be sadly mistaken. This is a hiding room my husband built shortly after we moved in, when he returned on break during the Great War. He was concerned about how the war was going and what might be the future, and he wanted a hidden room where maybe I could hide, or we could hide paperwork or money or items we wanted to keep safe. And so we've used it as a hidey hole ever since. And I believe your dear friend, my lovely guest, Anna, she discovered it. I don't hide it anymore. I feel no need for it. I don't think there's a need for it. It's just a lovely hidden space. She's discovered it and started leaving some of her items in there when she seemed to be getting paranoid over the last few days.
I should point out she wasn't actually paranoid.
It seems not, to be honest. I wasn't expecting gentlemen such as yourself to come round. I'm glad that you seem to be the ones that she's not been worried about.
And as such, I would suggest that perhaps keeping it secret may be good going forwards for your own safety.
It's definitely the plan. If nothing else, it's given me a wonderful place to hide when my sister-in-law comes over. I can pretend I'm out.
Imagine the people that she is worried about are very much like your sister-in-law, but with machine guns.
Well,
I mean, to be fair, we don't know if her sister-in-law brings machine guns.
not recently. Not recently. Not now we get on better.
Right.
But Miss Sukov has been suggesting that I store food and water in there. So I have been. So you will find some supplies and things like that in there. A small bed. It's not the biggest space, but I could happily hide in there for a few days if need be.
Very good.
I think we should go looking for anything in there that isn't just supplies.
Wonderful. I'll go and I think the kettle's boiling. I'm gonna make some more coffee for you all if you want any when you come back out again.
Can I roll like? How does the Rudi feel about this story? Does she feel anything suspicious or something being hidden or something?
Good question.
Let's make a roll. How would you like? Are you wanting to read her through? I guess honesty would be her honesty and how much you believe her story would be a charisma thing. If you think it,
Let's go with charisma.
Yeah.
It's like for change.
Wonderful.
It's the same with my education. So
yeah, go for it.
we'll go with a 3 of basis and a 4, 7.
That's partial. So from what you can tell, she seems to be telling the truth. From what you can tell, you're a man who's had to read a lot of people's faces and body language. However, she does catch you sort of staring at her somewhat, possibly leering, and she sort of allows herself a little giggle and a blush. It seems like she thinks you might fancy her now.
Who says I don't?
She smiles. She says, "I'll put a little bit extra in yours, Mr. Otto. A little bit extra." And she bustles off, sort of giggling to herself, like she's 50 years younger.
Gaston sort of side eyes the pair of them and raises his eyebrows a little bit in the general direction of Tony. Well, shall we continue?
Let's explore. Yes, I shall poke my way into the room carefully. It's dark in there.
What if
Maybe light
someone comes behind us and pushes us into this hole? Maybe someone should keep watch.
Fair enough. That sounds like a good idea, actually. If you can stay in the doorway and stop it from closing or anything.
Yes, I can stand here, take care of the evidence, take care of everything the lady brings to me.
I will
and make sure that nothing happens to you this way by guarding this safe passage, making it safe for your death.
I will light my cigarette lighter and use it to check around inside, looking for notes, papers, notebooks, journals, and obviously any random pieces of ancient miraculum.
Wonderful. As you are you going in with him, Gaston?
Yeah, Gaston will do the same. He'll also light a cigarillo while he's got his lighter out.
Wonderful. If only the two of you had seen the massive pile of TNT in the corner. You go through the doorway with the light of the flames flickering off the wall and items that sort of, as your eyes slowly grow accustomed. It's a strange space. The wall behind where the bookcase has been built onto is just brickwork. It's clearly been put up by someone who's not an expert in brickwork. It's a bit messy. It's a bit shoddy. It's clearly been added to the house later. The other three walls that would have been the wall to the outside of the house, and then the two walls to Alina's bedroom.
Yep.
It's strange because they have wallpaper as if they so used to just be part of the living room.
Right.
But it's wallpaper. It's different wallpaper. You know, this has not been papered since she's last decorated.
Yeah. It's like the former living room wallpaper.
Yeah, it's exactly that. And there's sort of some fittings and fixtures there that were probably part of the room at the time, but now they've been left. You know, not being replaced. They've been left there. There's a small sort of cradle bed. You know, like a really basic sort of military style bed. Really basic down one side. against the wall to the outside. So at the top of the picture as we look at it, with a small bedside table there. There's a Bible on top of that. And then against the wall with the bookcase, the bit that doesn't open, there's stashed some cans of food, some water, a few bottles of wine and a couple of beers and such like along there. And then there's, you see some boxes along the other wall that appear to be a whole range of things. There's some that seem to have books in, there's some that seem to have paperwork in. There's a couple of locked cases, a variety, a couple of paintings that look like they might have some value to them. Very much like a stashing place. Part spare room, part safe, as it were, part panic room. A combination of the three, really.
Can Gaston check the labels on the bottle of wine, just out of habit, I suppose?
Oh, you can.
Anything interesting?
The most interesting thing is that there are 2 bottles of the last year of the De La Rue vintage before the vineyard was taken over by the Germans during World War One, the Great War as we know it.
Mm-hmm.
Crosses himself in disbelief. Puts them back down. Just takes a little moment. Deep breath in. Gets the feeling that I think everything's going to be okay with the world. There's still some Chateau de la Rue left in circulation that makes him feel much better about the whole situation.
Excellent.
Right. Where were we?
You said there were a couple of locked cases.
Yeah.
What kind of size? I mean, like briefcases or suitcases or trunks?
One is a trunk. If you were to guess, it's probably been there for a while. There's some other bits on top of it that look precariously placed, but that might have been there for weeks rather than any less time. There's a smaller case that is very much more of a briefcase size. That is on top of other things, so that looks like it's been there much more recently.
Okay. Well, let's start with the smaller case. Can I carry it out into the living room?
You certainly can if Rudi lets you out, because he's doing a very good job at filling the doorway and keeping you safe.
And also eating any cakes
Exactly.
brought.
He's perfectly happy.
Yes, that's I will squeeze past him and put the case down on the table there and see if I can.
What's that? What's that?
It's a case of some kind.
Well, what about it? Can you open it?
Will I find out? I would like to open it, please.
Okie dokie. It is it's got a small keyhole. It's not very hardy looking. It'd be enough if someone tried to nick it off you. But, if someone really wanted to get in, they could probably get in, depending on how much mess you wanted to make.
I suppose I'll try and just pop the lock with a pocket knife rather than like hitting it with a hammer.
Okay. Well, you're going to start by rolling your agility with engineering.
I see.
I've given you engineering. What more would you want?
I think we designated engineering to be daring do. So
Oh, it's
so
not
does
very
that mean I can have my daring do?
No, opening a suitcase isn't daring. If it was, I'd be getting massive highs every time I went on holiday.
Okay, in that case, this is going to be poor.
You've got engineering at a +2, so you can add 2 to your agility.
Okay, so that's a total of 4.
You rolled a 1. That's embarrassing. You you sort of wiggle the knife around, you sort of jimmy it, try and get it into the crevices, sort of try and give it the old pop, but nothing going. You can feel that there's a mechanism in there, but for whatever reason, you appear to be totally inept.
Okay, I'm going to turn with a great beaming smile to Rudi. And I'm going to say, Rudi, do something with this case. It needs opening.
He takes care like fingers, washes them a bit. This mechanism, it's an old model probably, and it requires a very elegant technique to open it. He smashes it with all his might.
Have a strength plus fighty. Go on.
Oh, it was the anticipation of that got me. That was beautiful.
Ooh, that's 4 and total of 8, basically. Yeah.
As you bring it down with great force, the case pings open, and it's quite exciting actually. And basically, Gaston, you notice as in the moment as Rudi brings the case down and it bursts open, Frau Fischer has re-entered the room, and it's almost like she's got love hearts in her eyes at this point, seeing this strong man, alpha male, this case to oblivion. She almost drops the mugs of coffee on the floor with excitement. The lid just pops open, and you notice a couple of pieces of paper and a heavier small item wrapped in some sort of cloth tumble out of the case onto the floor.
Young love.
Beg your pardon, madam. It was just it was stuck. It needed to be unstuck.
Wow! If you've got time, I've got some things in the kitchen that are a bit tight and could do with being unstuck.
Can I examine the contents of the case, those that fell out and otherwise? Completely ignoring them, rolling their eyes at each other.
Yep. So you find 2 scraps of paper, and like I say, a small item, smaller than your fist, wrapped in a piece of sort of Hessian material and tied up.
Okay, so if I unwrap the Hessian, what's inside?
It is what the 2 of you could tell. Gaston's not so historically minded. The 2 of you could tell quite easily is an item of historical interest. It is. There are similarities to Monsieur Canard's piece, but you can both tell, and I'm not going to make you roll for it, that because Tony, you'll get it immediately. It is of ancient Roman origin.
Okay. We've got number 2. I'll hand it to Rudi for him to take a look at as well, and then can I look at the 2 pieces of paper?
Yeah, Rudi will look at it from a theological perspective to see any connections with Mercury.
Ah, nice. I'll let you take occult and education on that because, of course, as well as historical, there's always a lot of mythical, occultish tales of ancient gods and things like that. So yeah, please roll.
It's also one of my best things to do. Oh, she rolled just a 1.
Oh no!
It's just a 1. No, it is a 6. It's just a 1. I don't succeed into this roll.
You again, you can tell that it's ancient Roman. You're aware it's ancient Roman, and you can tell that you couldn't tell if it's Mercury or not, but you can tell it's probably something similarly minded to the Egyptian piece you found. You just can't tell that it's of Mercury.
Yeah.
If indeed it is.
Yeah. He's not at his best right now to focus.
But no, his focus is elsewhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Tony, you look at the bits of paper, the scraps of paper. One of them, as you hold it out, Gaston would be able to see a similarity. Is a list of the other 3 people's addresses and where they're staying.
Okay. Yep.
The second one is it's sort of a handwritten document of hers. Basically, it's a list of things, points of interest, I suppose, where the symposium's going to be. Where his presentation is going to be. Some times for her. Where she needs to get picked up from to get back to Russia. What time she had to leave. Those sort of boring things. Names, contact names for pickups for this, that, and the other. But there's a whole list of stuff that might be of interest or not. But it's just a whole list of stuff.
Sorry, Luke, just very quickly. When you said the other 3, does that is that Hightower, Personal, and Canyard?
It is Hightower, it's Canard, and it is Person.
Wonderful, thanks.
Sorry, John. I was trying. Sorry, John. I had a spot we could go to, but you're more than welcome to eat on stream. Of course, you are.
Yeah, sorry, I have to.
That's all right, man.
Okay. All right. I'm going to point to the artifact and say to Gaston, this is the Roman piece of the puzzle.
And when, as you say that, and the whole world does, that's where we'll take our 5-minute break and we'll come back to find out the outcome of that.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So if you need the loo or get a drink or anything, guys, please go do it. Whatever you do, we'll be back in 5 or so to continue the rest of this evening's activities.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
Hello, everyone. We're back for the second part of tonight's Tony and Rudi. Long pause, brackets, and Gaston, close brackets. Our heroes are in the house of Frau Fischer, where an important person's been staying, Anna Zukov. They found a hidden room behind a bookcase. Wonderful, wonderful. And they found part of what they're looking for. Like the opposite of you two, they found what they're looking for, which is an ancient Roman piece that looks like it goes along with the ancient Egyptian piece that Monsieur Henri Canard had discovered. It feels like they might have 2 of the 4 pieces they need. I don't know. I'm just a humble storyteller, but that seems to be what Tony Guerrero seems to be thinking. So that's where we'll join them, with Tony looking pensively at items, Gaston looking wistfully into the air, thinking of his family's wine, and Rudi, sweat running off his rippling biceps, his buttocks being looked at by an elderly woman. And this is where we return to the game.
Well, we have 1 piece from here, but 2 more addresses to visit.
Yes, indeed. Madame Fischer, I entered your house a scared and somewhat disillusioned person, and I feel that we will be leaving it, or I will certainly be leaving it, reinvigorated and much more at peace with the world. Thank you. If I may make a suggestion for the, and he gestures towards the room for the wine, some roast duck and perhaps some chantenay carrots.
Thank you so much, Mr. I didn't get your last name.
Gaston is fine.
Yes, Gaston. Thank you, young man. You're wonderful. You're a wonderful man. You're all wonderful men. Thank you so much. I hope that you can help my young friend Miss Zukov with whatever her worries are. She looked incredibly nervous and upset over the last couple of days, and I hope that whatever it is you're doing, I hope you're helping in some way or another. Now, please, it's customary in these parts as people leave to give them a cuddle and a kiss on each cheek. If you wouldn't mind, as she walks straight over to Rudi.
Yes, we must honor the traditions of the house and the roof, which is above our heads.
Oh, your arms are so strong.
He continues to smooth the host.
Please come back when your when your investigations are complete. There'll always be a space at the table.
Yes, I will come back to investigate the holes. Both holes.
Oh, please do. Oh, she gives you one last hug, I guess, and then she turns to you, Tony. She says, "Thank you so much. All the best." And she holds out her hands for a handshake.
I will shake her hand and try very hard not to leave a slight smear of blood on it.
And you, young handsome Gaston. Oh, Anna would have she would have loved you. And she leans in for a little cheek kiss with you.
He goes for a very quick and subtle kiss on each cheek. Thank you, Meadow.
Oh, you're always welcome. Please, I hope you find Anna and everything you need now. She sort of leads you over to the front door. Do you wish to leave by my front door? Or do you wish to make use of my rear exit?
Gaston
She
turns
smiles.
to,
She smiles.
to
She
Tony.
smiles at Rudi. Yeah, that's right.
I think the back would be closer to the boat.
Oh, you came by boat. How romantic! Is it your boat's her Otto?
It is now.
The man who takes what he wishes.
Ah, you sound so wonderful. Anyway, let me now Straussy, come on, back in the kitchen, Straussy, come on, you three. I know they're wonderful guests, aren't they, Straussy? We want them back, don't we? Yes, we do. Come on, let them go. She leads you through the guest room and to the fire escape. My friends, don't be strangers.
Au revoir, mademoiselle.
Oh, I learned, man. Au revoir.
I shall leave them for just a little private moment if they want to say goodbye without observers, and head down the fire escape to the garden.
As will Gaston.
Rudi, could you roll a charisma, please?
That's the one with a 3, a total of 4.
It was a 1. Okay. Be safe. She sort of waves you off.
Auf Wiedersehen. Boy line.
Auf Wiedersehen. So many languages tonight.
Yes, duty calls. So yeah, Rudi rushes out of there.
Cool. And sort of, she's waving at the fire escape for a while, and then you sort of see her turn in as Straussy tries to get out the door. So you sort of see her half put her leg in the way to push him back in and close the door quickly. And that is it.
Nothing,
and the 3 of
nothing more romantic than the realism of looking after a dog.
Exactly.
I like it.
The 3 of you are at the bottom of the fire escape, out the back of the house with the Danube and the boat just 20 meters away.
Luke, very quickly, the meeting that Anna had between everyone with Henri. When was that in relation to now?
So they had not actually met. Their big meeting was dated for tomorrow at the park, which is the thing you found. So their big meeting was dated at the park, and then of course there is going to be the big his big celebratory event. They clearly know each other through communication, but their big meeting was to be tomorrow.
But we've got a day essentially, or the rest of. Okay.
The 10th of March, which is tomorrow.
So it strikes me as we have 3 options: the people, the missing people, which are still of a concern, or the two remaining people and artifacts,
Mhm.
of which we at least have an address.
Yes, to have names and the deities that they are associated with.
Yes.
Do we have locations?
Yes, we have addresses where they were staying for everybody.
So then who is next? Who is next?
Well, either
Jean-Luc.
Rufus Hightower, expert in Greece, or Lars Persson, expert in Persia.
I
Okay,
would
yeah.
I would strongly advise that if we see a specialist, it should perhaps be the Persian specialist next. Only because I don't want Lars Persson to be the last person on our list.
Oh,
And why is that? Wait, is there a joke that I don't catch?
you're terrible. A
Because
terrible.
Lars Persson
Terrible joke.
sounds a little bit like last person.
No, it's not worth
Okay.
understanding, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is
It's
this
really
is
not.
make a note. This is the exact moment where John's eyes have glazed over for the night.
And rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Oh my.
Mine did, to be honest.
Hey, I didn't make the name.
Yeah.
And then stick them on a list.
In fact, not only that, literally at the bottom of the list.
If you're looking at the address list, if it's helpful for
Yeah.
you, going down the Danube, of course, you can go to wherever you want. Both other places they're staying at are both on the Danube.
Okay.
The next one along is where Rufus Hightower is staying, which is, if you look at the map, pretty much above the eye on Vienna.
Gotcha.
And then Lars Persson is a bit further down, pretty much where the north part of the Danube joins the main part. So halfway along the park area, I guess. There's buildings there, but it's a bit more sparsely populated.
Yeah. Yeah, the Alta or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
I can't remember now. Yes.
So you're down there. So they're your two places for those two properties. If you're looking for the people, I guess.
Okay. Yes. Well, I suppose therefore, in order, we should probably go to Hightower next.
Annoyingly,
Yeah, it is
Hightower,
closer.
and then perhaps the meeting at the park, and then perhaps Lars Persson
Yeah.
should.
Well, the one that we
should be the
visit
last.
last. Yes, the one that we visit last is the one that might be the most in danger.
This is true.
Yeah. And he is Swedish, so a moose could fall on him at any moment.
Oh, don't worry me like that. It is the second most common way that Swedish people die: moose falling on them.
Yeah.
What's the first?
It's not important.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
I trust Luke's judgment of what's important and what's not.
Yeah.
Quite right too.
I know this is perhaps the wrong crowd, and seeing as though these have a little look around and make sure there's no one around. These artifacts lead to something that could bring about world peace. Maybe it's a bad idea, but if nefarious forces are also after these artifacts, could we not just destroy the two that we have and be done with it?
I mean, we could.
Perhaps
It's an easy option, and it's not the best.
we will be dooming the world from the peace, the everlasting peace. Deserves we combine all four. There is an obvious iron in his tone, but yes, not completely.
I would feel remiss if I didn't at least bring up the option, I suppose.
Yes, of course.
As
But
flawed as it
even
is.
without magically achieving world peace by combining those four, I would still fight against destroying such historical relics.
Indeed.
So, in the same way that we didn't destroy the Mary Magdalene's bracelet,
Oh, you didn't?
I don't think
Ooh, interesting. Where did you stash it?
the same way perhaps we can diffuse one of them.
I'm
For
worried.
now, then.
I mean, I'm worried
Or all
about
of them, yes. or all of
the
them.
term world peace. There are a lot of people speaking right now in the world about how their plans will pacify the world, and the world might be pacified by their plans, but I'm not convinced that's a peaceful transition.
It's true. It's
The
dependent on who
yeah,
said that peace will come by collecting those four items.
if you're going to put that kind of firepower in the hands of a person, you've got to be very careful who that person is.
Do you know the source for the translation of this statement? Was that available
That's a
in
good point.
in our notes?
We were, I think it was Canard who told us that.
Yeah, it was part of his conversation with you.
Okay, I wasn't sure whether it was the. No, the note was the address, wasn't it? Okay.
Because
Cool.
I'm mostly, my notes from that conversation are mostly about how heroic my character was being.
Well, when it's rare, you note it.
The shade.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah, yes, certainly. That's what it looks like.
Perhaps it's an idea for the back burner, or for a plan B, as people might say.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting thing is that none of these four deities, the respective countries of origin, talk about peace all that much, but more so about travel,
Yeah.
commerce, even
Yes.
trade. So they don't talk about peace. Or actually, can I make a roll to see, if any of these gods have any dogma specific, any sacred rites about world peace or something?
I'll tell you what I'll do for you. You can roll it, education. Do you want to keep it purely to
Let's go with.
historical stuff, or do you want to bring in the edge of cultishness as well?
I have the same, so it's a matter of angle.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that there must be. I'm not sure, but metaphysical or not, let's go with history. And through history, I think I will find it.
Okay, you've got your history, haven't you? So you're +2 plus education.
Yeah, I'm a monster. 5 plus 4. That's 9.
As you said, from what you can tell, there's exactly what you say. It's these gods are very much mostly about travel and commerce. But again, your thought would be, as you three have been discussing really beautifully, actually, there are many ways that people talk about peace. There are many ways that peace could be achieved, or that people would see peace to be achieved. Many definitions of what peace would be. You would tell historically, Rudi, that from with that role, peace can be achieved through commerce, the understanding of travel, but you know that none of those gods have specifically ever been focused as the god of peace.
Interesting enough. And okay, Rudy will take some notes over this, but
Oh, get the book out.
They-
Rudy. It's been a long time since you've got the old book out.
yeah. I'm gonna just keep some notes on that and carry on. Actually, yeah, just that.
It's good.
Worth noting, Mr. Rudi. Our host back there it's worth keeping in her good books for her taste in wine alone. She had 2 fine bottles of De La Rue stored away in her secret room.
Yes, she had many secret holes that require further exploration.
Oh God.
To Hightower, I believe.
Hightower. Okay, we will go for Hightower. We know the address, and it's just a little way down the River Danube.
Yeah, the boat is there
Or
where
up
you left
the River
it.
Danube, down the River Danube.
Down the River Danube. Yeah. We're not going full apocalypse now. You never go all the way up the river.
Charlie don't surf the Danube.
Charlie don't surf the Danube.
That's for sure.
You're back in your motor launch with your nice. The vibes are good. Again, could you all roll an education for me, please?
Yes. Anything we can add?
Nope. Nothing of those lists.
Terribly poor.
Oh no.
Can I
Rudy's
not-
still thinking of the Frau.
That's a
mine's
total of 8.
Mine's a 7.
I'm going to let Rudy off. Let's assume Rudy's driving.
Okay.
That means he's given an excuse to be so useless.
And we did say it's his boat.
It's his boat.
Ooh.
Yeah. In fact, Rudy, you can name it. It's your boat. You can name the boat if you wish.
Let's go with the uppercut.
The uppercut.
The uppercut.
I love it. I picture you like carving it in with the knife before you get in. As you're driving the boat, as you're steering the boat, Tony and Gaston are sort of keeping an eye out. Neither of you notice at this point, especially you, Tony, who had the better roll?
I had an 8.
Tony.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah. Tony by 1.
There doesn't appear to be anyone suspicious watching you from the banks, as you can tell, with an 8. As you sort of find there's another mooring. There's a lot of moorings at this time of history along the Danube.
Mm-hmm.
And the next address takes you to a quieter road. You're a couple of roads away from where things open out. And there's a place to land, which looks like it's probably just 100 meters away from where Rufus Hightower is staying, which, according to the address, is I apologize for my pronunciation, a Conditore Leitner. It's a pastry shop. He's staying upstairs in a pastry shop.
Wow. Okay.
A Conditore.
These academics certainly believe in getting themselves fed.
And why not?
Indeed.
Is that the name of the pastry shop?
Conditore Leitner, yes. So it's Leitner is the name, the owner, Leitner. And Conditore is Konditorei. So Conditore is like the type of shop. It's a pastry shop which in Austria, it's sort of a mix between like a nicer Greg's, but also a cafe, a place that people, a place that, because you can buy your pastries, but it's also a place that you would sit outside with a coffee and relax and a pastry. So you're getting your pastries, but it's also like almost like a little mini restaurant as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So not like a Greg's.
Not really. More like a street cafe with a speciality in pastries rather than, sausages.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. It's not really.
What time?
It's
Sorry.
for. It's sorry. What time are you going to say?
I was.
It's now about 4:30. It's not really pastry time, really. Well, it might be. Anywhere in the world is pastry time.
It's pastry time somewhere.
No, exactly.
Do either of you fancy a cup of coffee, perhaps? We sit in as customers and get a lay of the land before, or do we feel as though there's urgency to
I think there is
our
urgency,
visit?
but actually catching eye of our surroundings, taking an opportunity to see if people are watching, seeing if we can, have a peer around the building while getting a coffee is not a bad idea.
Perhaps a short coffee. Then what do they call it in Rome? An espresso.
Espresso.
Oh,
Of course.
Rudy's the man of languages tonight. That's what I love. He's using them all.
I do like it.
I learn it, man.
Yes, she can also easily speak Greek now. Rufus.
Don't,
I can
After
actually
that road
roleplay
trip.
it.
Yeah.
please,
By amazing coincidence.
just please, if you come across any old Greek stuff, don't ask me academic questions about
Yes, what does that
Greek
mean?
language.
What is that?
Ironically, despite being an academic, his classical Greek isn't quite as good as his modern Greek.
That's true.
Does that mean that my task for next time is to swat up on ancient Persian?
Yes, I think that falls to you. I think.
Okay. I will take Gaston's suggestion and walk up to the cafe, and at the earliest opportunity, as I approach, I'll sort of cast eyes left and right and see if I can spot anything. But assuming nothing sort of leaps out at me, literally or figuratively, I will order us 3 espresso.
Okay. Hey, Crit, by the way, how are you doing, man? Hope life is good. Thank you for joining us for a bit. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. So here is the map. I've pulled it up. It is there. The Conditorre Leitner, the ground floor, as you can see. You can tell from outside the building, it's over a couple of floors. This is no shock to you that this is the ground floor. To the right-hand side of the small map is the road, as you can see where it says road.
Yeah.
That you walk down. It is on the edge of a city bit. It's quite a quiet street. There are people coming and going. It's still before the end of work. It's 4:30, so shops are open, cafes are open, but they're not too busy right now. Next to the road, you've got the pavement. Those circles there are tables. So there are a few tables outside where people would sit and eat. There's ashtrays at each. There is no one at any table at the moment. To the bottom, it's not very clear, but below those 3 tables, there is a doorway.
Right.
Into the shop front. That
Yep.
is all you can see right now. A working knowledge of such stores would let you know that pastries are cooked on site. It's very important that pastries are cooked there.
Yep.
So you have the ovens and prep room. There would be storage. That is no surprise. You would guess that through life experience.
Mm-hmm.
However, of course, for customers as you, the tables and the shop front is the places that you can go. So it's empty out the front. Do you wish to go into the shop, or would you like to sit at the tables and wait?
I would like to sit outside, if I may. I think that'll give us a better view of people around. But can I ask a quick question?
You can.
Is the conditore, is it contiguous with the buildings on either side, or is there a gap either side?
No, it's totally next to the buildings. It's part of a run of properties.
Okay, fair enough. So essentially, though, there would obviously be a way to get behind it. We'd have to go a distance in either direction.
Yeah, you'd probably have to go a few buildings either way to get
Fair enough.
to the back here.
Okay. Then in that case, I shall place an order for 3 espresso and carry them to the table closest to the front door, if I may.
You can go into the shop front to make the other two sitting at the Rudi and Gaston. Have you chosen to sit at a table outside while Tony does this, or do you wish to go in with him?
Gaston will sit outside and wait. I'll light up a cigarella.
Rudi, do you wish to sit outside with Gaston, or do you wish to go into the shop with Tony?
I will sit outside, but first, let's say that Rudi will go to visit the bathroom and check the people inside.
Covering all bases. I like it.
As you go in to
No, he did ate a lot of cake and had a lot of coffee.
Yes.
So it's not a fake going to the bathroom for him, but it's all part of his mission, obviously.
Of course. You go to so you go into the shop with Tony, I guess, for the toilet. As you walk in, there is a whole opposite the door as you go in. There's a whole counter area which has an array of pastries underneath the glass counter, as you would expect, with a till at the ends, at the bottom as we look at the map. Behind on the wall back, there's more breads and pastries. There's a whole display. There's a coffee machine there too. There's a sign celebrating their Marilyn Knoddle, which is an apricot pastry. It appears that is their speciality. There is a sign on the wall, which is in Austrian, German, declaring that there's no toilet on site, but to use the public convenience across the road. So if you wish to, so there is no way that you can get through the back, Rudi, just to go to the toilet. If you wish to use the toilet, you have to use a public toilet.
Okay, he got what he wanted. He will go with the others.
Okay. So you sit outside with Gaston. Tony, a gentleman approaches, sort of comes out of the corridor, and behind the counter he walks up to face you, pretty much as Rudi turns and starts to go.
Okay.
Good afternoon. How can I help you?
3 espresso, please.
Do you wish to drink inside or outside?
I will join my friends at one of the tables outside, please.
Okay. Do you go immediately, or do you?
No. I'm going to. Would I be right in thinking that if you sort of looked left on the map,
Mm-hmm.
so if you're standing in the shop front and looking towards the back of the building,
Mm-hmm.
there would be sort of shelves of pastries and things on that wall facing you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
Sort of
there's the counter between you and
the counter, yeah.
So behind him, there's
Yep.
pastries, and then between you and him, there's a counter, and underneath the glass top, there's more
Yeah.
plated pastries ready to go.
I'm
There's some apple strudel there. There's some sachatot, the chocolate cake, which we know Rudi loves. There's a
yes.
whole load of pastries.
Um,
You can even get a beer there. You can get beer anywhere in Vienna. You can get a Gosse, a Stiegel, an absinthe if you wish.
okay. I'm going to look along that shelf and using my, my worldly experience,
Pastry prowess.
The pastry
uh,
prowess. Is that one of
you
the
know,
skills we've got? Pastry prowess.
It should
it
be.
is not, but it should be. Um, is there anything on there that would be more of a traditional German, especially Bavarian interest? Something that wouldn't necessarily be picked up by most of the regular customers in Vienna, but would appeal to a German.
They have a slightly specialist strudel, which has a different spice mix, I guess. It's a certain more of a richer spice to it. It's advertised as being a German strudel. It would mark it. It seems like there's not that they have walls with a billion of a billion of the apricot pastries. That's clearly their thing. You've got bits of strudel, you've got your chocolate cake, but then there's a small section of that, which would suggest that it's the less popular.
Could I have a go at, given my cultural experience, could I have a go at ordering 3 of those items that would be particularly of German or Bavarian extraction, in as close as I can manage to a Munich accent, please?
Oh,
Oh, specific.
wowzer.
I want to see if he is aware that there are Germans, especially from Bavaria, flooding into Austria right now, and if he is by nature positively or negatively disposed towards them.
It's a good roll. Okay.
So essentially, if he believes or begins to believe that I might be one of them, will he react as this is a good thing or a bad thing? That's what I'm after, basically.
Right. I guess that's an education then. You're an educated man. Make your roll.
Okie dokie, I'll give it a shot. Is this risky enough to be daring do?
Oh,
No, I didn't think it would
you're
be.
just attempting a bad accent. We can all do that.
Well, apparently I can. It's a 10.
Jesus.
So I can at least accurately pronounce the name of a Munich treat.
I like to picture you doing that just as Rudy's leaving the door and Rudy sort of wincing at your German accent a little bit. I want to see him do an Italian accent in Revenge at some point. The man behind the bar sort of looks at you. He doesn't seem to. It doesn't seem to change his expression at all. Interestingly, um, he he takes 3 plates of it without much flair, sort of plonks it down, and he goes back to he seems to be concentrating quite a lot on the drinks. He doesn't seem to be brilliant at it. Maybe he's new to the job. You know, he's not a man for conversation, I suppose.
Okay, fair enough. Then I will move the 3 plates out to the table outside and return for the coffees as they are prepared.
The coffees are put down in front of you. They don't look great for a place that's supposed to be good. Things don't look magic. He hands you the 3 coffees. You see him scribble some things down on a bill, and he puts it back behind the counter, knowing that you'll pay as and when you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy your drinks and your strudel. And he's almost like immediately looks to go down the corridor again.
If he's trying to leave, okay, I've got another obscure little mind game to play with him, I'm afraid.
Mm-hmm.
It suddenly occurs to me, seeing the quality of the coffee he's turned out, that maybe he doesn't work here at all.
Nice.
And so I want to ask for something to flavour the coffee, like sour cream or smetana. You know, that thick Russian sour cream. So I will ask him for some smetana, please, and see if he knows where they keep it.
You ask, there's sort of a strange, confused look across his face. And then you hear a hubbub of a voice. You can't place an accent or even a language, I guess, because it's down the corridor.
Mm-hmm.
And he vanishes down it, and then 5 seconds later, another gentleman exits to come out into the shop front. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, sir. Can't get the staff these days. What can I do for you? Did you want something different?
Yes, just a little bowl of smetana to put in the coffee, please.
Smetanus. I'm afraid we're out of smetanus right now. Is there anything else we can offer you? The customer is always right, but sadly, times are tough for suppliers these days.
Well,
I have sugar. I have cream. It's close to cream.
how
It's
about
close to sugar?
Yes, cream would be lovely. Thank you.
Splendid. Please, I tell you what. Return to your table. I shall bring your drinks and the cream over to you.
Thank you. And I will carry it out and put the coffees down, and then remain standing. What I'm going to do is light up a cigarette out there and sort of step a few paces away from the cafe, peering back in through the windows, but more just standing that side of the table, smoking, stretching my back, looking like I'm just loosening a few muscles.
Poor old Rudi's getting so much passive smoking around you too. He's an athlete.
Yeah, but he's an
Not only that, an
athlete from the
academic one.
1930s.
Yeah, that's true.
His training methods probably involved beer.
They do actually.
This new man, you see, sort of reaches on the other side of the counter, and he comes out with a small jug that appears to have something in. He comes out round the shop front in his apron, and comes out through the door to place the cream, the jug, on the the table that the three of you have taken, that Gaston and Rudi are at, and that Tony is lurking nearby.
Okay. Now, this is the reason I wanted to stay standing. I will rest my cigarette in the ashtrays if I'm going to sit down. And when he goes back inside, I'm going to make a leap of faith here, because when I walked into the shop the first time, there was nobody behind the counter, but almost immediately someone emerged.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess that there is something like a bell above the door.
Yeah. There is.
As he goes through, goes back in, I'm going to catch the door before it closes and grab the bell and twist it off by keeping my thumb inside the bell.
Oh my goodness, what skills you have. Well, do you? Because that feels quite agility like. I don't know. Is it strength? I don't know. It's either way you're screwed.
It's an educated move.
I would think it's more strength than agility if I want to pull it. Not sure.
I'll
You don't make the call.
I'll give it. It's engineering as well, though, right? It's stuff.
Yeah,
definitely daring.
It's he's only pulling a bell off a door. It's not very daring.
I think behind the back of potentially the owner.
I think we're over egging the daring do. Not everything is daring.
Well, apparently nothing is. Not so far tonight, anyway.
Sticking your hand in a hole is quite daring. Okay. Roll with engineering and strength, please.
Okay. Sorry, that's a 10.
Oh, that's good.
I rolled like 3 6s now tonight.
That is crazy.
Nice.
That's some good rolls.
To be fair, I've also rolled a 1 and a 2, but 3 6s is a lot.
A binary, 6 or 1. That's nothing else.
You manage it. Tony, as he goes in and he sort of walks his way back through to the back, you do manage to hoik the bell off without too much of a gargled whimper from the bell. And you're left there standing with the bell as Gaston and Rudi are sat at the table with the coffees and the frankly strange Bavarian strudel, watching upon you with no doubt, I don't know, a lot of love and affection, probably, maybe.
I'm going to say to them,
confusion, I think.
I'm going to say to them, something doesn't feel right. I think we should investigate inside. And I wanted to be able to close the door without the bell ringing.
The obvious thing that doesn't feel right to me is an Italian ordering cream with a coffee after breakfast time. But
it was a ruse.
If you insist.
If they're happy to do so, I will usher them inside and then close the door and put the bell down on the floor, obviously silently.
Gaston will down his shot for espresso first.
Yeah, you got to get.
Yeah.
It's far from the best coffee you've ever had, Gaston. For a place that celebrates great coffee, very disappointing.
Okay.
Then, if I may, I will close the door and then turn the sign on the back of it to indicate that it is closed.
Beautiful. As the three of you enter that, the door is closed, the sign is turned. Things are getting exciting, so I feel that is where we finish for this evening.
Fair. Oh. The suspense of a shut pastry shop.
Excellent.
There's nothing more suspenseful than a shut pastry shop.
Well, I mean, I may be hugely overthinking this, in which case I'll owe them a few marks for a broken bell and and an apology for stumbling into their corridor. But it does feel iffy.
It's been a food-heavy Tony and Gaston tonight. Tony and Rudi, sorry.
Oh,
just putting it out there. No, I'm sorry. Unintentional. It's the time of evening. But it has been food heavy. There's been a lot of delicious things talked about.
There has. And all we've had for us is John's eating a tin of tuna. That's it.
Also
So-
delicious, but
Exactly.
It was
In its own
good.
way.
It was okay. It was okay.
It was okay.
That's all right.
It did the job. Let's let John get to sleep. The poor old man's fading.
Thank
in
you.
front
Thank
of
you so
half
much,
a dozen
everyone.
miles.
Good
Thanks,
game.
guys.
Good game.
Always good. Thank you, guys. We shall be
some good
back
question.
next weekend with something. Not me though. I'm not here, so these guys are doing things. We'll keep you posted through the socials, etc., etc. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you, Spares. We love you. And Crit, if you're still
Always fun. Thanks,
Anyone
Crit.
else?
Fun.
Take care. Sleep well. We'll see you all
Night.
soon. Love you. Bye.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Bye bye.